Hello, everyone. Sorry. Let me get these all set up for you, Phil. Hold on one second. Hold on one second, Coach. Let me just get all these guys set. Lots of people. Okay, I think I got everybody, Coach. We are ready. First question for you, Coach, will come from James Hawkins from the Detroit News.
Hey, Phil, good morning. Appreciate your time. Just to start off, I guess just a health status with the roster. Do you guys expect to get Hunter and Brandon back tomorrow and have everyone else available?
Hunter and Brandon were here last night. We had a workout at 5 o'clock last night. They were here. They were not full participants. So a lot will be based on how they respond and how much they can get into live action today.
Okay, so it sounds like it'll be another game where Juwan will make a decision, I guess, whether he feels comfortable not to play them.
Yes, and not cliches, but their well-being, long-term well-being, will be the determining factor.
And another question, just Zeb, I know he hasn't traveled with the team the last 2 games. Is there, what's going on with him? Is there any, I guess, just what's his status?
He's just working through some things, getting all the support from the coaching staff, from the personnel on campus, and making sure again that he's in a good place mentally to rejoin the team, if that's what's best for him.
Thanks.
Next question is from Zach Shaw from the Michigan Insider.
Hey, Phil. Thanks for taking the time. I'm curious, with when players are going through shooting slumps, Juwan talks a lot about, just let them keep shooting, feed them with confidence. Is there a point though where you have to balance maybe wanting to tweak the mechanics or see if there's something more to it when it goes on for multiple games or multiple weeks?
That's a really interesting question, and I think it really comes back to the coach, in that you have to know who you are. So I'm speaking, guy. I'm not sure about shot mechanics. Maybe somebody should say you should know that. Yeah, but maybe I should know auto mechanics too. I don't. So I don't mess with that. And as I think it's really hard to kind of change in midstream, but certainly you keep a list of saying, in the spring, I want to take care of this. In the summer, I want to take care of that. And whether it's defining the person on the staff that can best connect, that can tweak. We have every possible tool to help them. Every shot is recorded. Every shot is statted. They have this system in there where they can watch every shot. So we don't leave it to themselves, but in the middle of the year, it's really difficult. When you're, how are we going to guard Donta Scott? And how are we going to twist this guy's foul shot? So it is, I think that we all have to take our lead, and I've always been a believer in this, that I take our lead from Juwan, and that the players understand that the last shot's not important, whether it went in or didn't go in. The next shot is the most important shot. And if they have anything in their head that thinks other than this ball is in, then we can't defeat that. You know, if it's a gorilla on somebody's back or whatever, however you want to describe it. But what we want them to do is take the next shot and take the next shot and take the next shot. And if there's a tweak to be made, spring and summer and is when to make that tweak.
Next, we'll move over to Michael Cohen from the Detroit Free Press.
Hey, Phil, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. In terms of Caleb, it's been a rough stretch for him lately, and it looked like the best offensive run against Illinois in the second half came during that 10-minute stretch when he was actually out and resting. I guess, what have you seen from him in terms of where his confidence is at right now and how he sort of views himself within the offense at this point?
Well, I mean, to his credit, he has a just a beautiful way about him. You know, he is not entitled, and he's not a kid that it's been easy for. Like, he has worked to get to that McDonald's All-American, to be a national champion in high school, to be considered you know, one of the top freshmen in America. None of that has weighed on him. So he hasn't changed. He's still a young guy that gets in. He gets a lot of shots up. He works on his game. He has a remarkable way of connecting when you have a conversation. He doesn't seem distracted. So is it hard? Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, it's hard. It's hard what he is going through, but he's not going through it alone. Such a supportive family, a coaching staff that believes and gives him every opportunity, whether it's on the court, in particular, Sadie Washington with on the court, watching film, the words of encouragement from Juwan during practice. It resonates with me, because there are times as a coach you're like, oh my, but I thought you get this like jittery feeling. We expect that Caleb tomorrow night will go 9 for 9 from 3, and everybody will say, well, it's over, it's gone. But there's been no change in him. And I think that's what you look for in coaching young guys. Like, is there a change? Is there pressure coming from somewhere else that I'm not aware of? Is he overly reading social media notes or things like that? Like, they're all engaged with social media, but he is not impacted by the criticisms or the corrections that people want to help him with.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
We'll move over to Andrew Kahn from M Live.
Hey, Phil, I've got a question about Jace. I know you coached one of your sons in college. I don't know, talking to a lot of different coaches who coach their kids, kind of a theme that comes up is it's easier if he's like the best player, or he's just, kind of a walk-on who doesn't expect to play. Jace is kind of now in that middle and ascending, I guess. Any conversations you've had with Juwan about that relationship and that dynamic?
No, actually, I've had conversations with Jace.
Okay.
I've had more conversations with Jace and the whole dynamic, because we can talk about because he signed, but the whole dynamic around Jet and Jace. So I don't want to be thought of as the Howard son whisperer, but I did have conversations, and I let Jace know that I recognized that it can be a challenge for both the dad, it can be a challenge for the son, it can be a challenge for the coach, and it can be a challenge for the player. And over these years, Jace has done, and Juwan have done a remarkable job of kind of separating that. And I think that Jace's thirst, his thirst for knowledge, his thirst for information, and then his thirst for an opportunity. So he got his opportunity. However it came about, he got his opportunity. And, now it's a matter of kind of where can it grow and how does it grow? But there will be no change, just like with Caleb's shooting. There's not going to be any change in Juwan's approach or our approach with Jace. I think one of the beautiful things is, and he said it again yesterday to them, and he means it. Jace Howard told these players that he loves them. And he didn't say, I love you, Jace, because you're my son. He told them that he loved them because he was a player on this team. And I think at the end of the day, that kind of love that is reciprocated by the players to Jace is going to carry us through, a tough stretch here.
Thanks. And then as far as, his play the other night, I mean, at times defending, in potential national player of the year. I don't know. You've only had, I guess, maybe one practice since, but I mean, do you sense it could be inspiring for the teammates, the effort he was giving out there?
I think the play that he made with the loose ball in the first half, and he hit the floor and then fired the ball back, that was shown to the players last night, along with some, obviously, clips of corrections that need to be made. And that was, look, every win is not a winning experience, and every loss is not a losing experience. Friday night was not a losing experience. It was just a loss. And I don't mean just a loss, but it was a loss. But those kind of plays, if we can now make another one like that and then duplicate that as we go into Maryland, we're going to come out of this. But certainly that specific a play makes a big difference to the spirit of this team.
Thanks.
We'll go back to Zach Shaw from the Michigan Insider.
Well, you started to touch on it just now with the spirit of this team comment. I'm curious what the coaches felt about the compete level, the defense, the rebounding, the loose balls, as you mentioned. And did you think maybe something got drawn out of your team being shorthanded, being in a tough environment like that? I'm just curious your thoughts on, from the outside, a lot of people, felt pretty excited about the compete level, I guess.
Well, after each game, I kind of sit back and write up, like, what did I sense? What was a plus and what was a minus? And I'm going to go back to Rutgers. And in the second half at Rutgers, we went at it. It wasn't great play, but we went at the game. When in other situations at Central Florida, we didn't go at the game. And I thought there was growth from them. Then you get into this, well, are we playing? Are we not playing? Who's sick? Who's not sick? The two practices leading up to Illinois were like back-to-back, I think our best competes. Back-to-back practices were our best competes. Now, I don't want to get into a player's head and say, well, they recognize like, well, maybe we're shorthanded or maybe we're not shorthanded because there was a physical presence with Hunter and Brandon, but there wasn't that presence in terms of game planning and that type of thing. So for that entity, and that's, I think each of these games is their own entity. That was a absolutely legitimate compete. But I'm like, one little caveat. Whenever you're in a situation in sport and the other guys, the other team, the other coaching staff says to you, you really played hard. What they're really saying, that's coach speak. What that really means is you weren't good enough tonight. We weren't good enough Friday. You know what I mean? Like, we weren't good enough in basketball. So I appreciate the sentiment, but at the end of the day, what do we have to improve on in basketball whether it's foul shooting, 3-point shooting, whatever it is. And let's make sure that playing hard, you got a scholarship to play hard, or you got selected to be on this team to play hard, right? That's a non-negotiable. So now let's play better.
We'll go back to Michael Cohn from the Free Press.
Hey, Phil, I was wondering what it's like as a coaching staff to have a group of players. And whenever we talk to Juwan, he talks about how much he likes this group and the work ethic and the commitment and all those types of character things. To have a group that you really, really enjoy coaching, but the on the floor results haven't translated the way that you want them to. Is that a strange kind of, I guess, dichotomy, that you feel in your stomach?
I don't know if it's strain, but it's a strain, like it pulls at you because you want like, as we're sitting here and I can hear a ball in the PDC, like we don't practice till 3:00, and you want guys to be successful, like for as effervescent a personality as Hunter, I want him to feel well. I want him to have that chance. I wanted him to go out there and play against Kofi, but I didn't want him out there for me. I wanted him out there for him. And, when he's looking at you and he's 7'2" and he has this oversized personality and persona, and you see the look in his eyes and you think, you know what, he's a kid. He's a kid that man, he wants this opportunity, and he physically knows that he can't give it. And same with these players. Like there's no player that's going to come in here and say, yeah, well, we practice from 3 to 5. I'm good. I'm ready to go. No, I want them to have individual and collective success tomorrow night against Maryland. So it's not strange, but it is a strain. It's a strain on you.
We'll go back to Andrew Kahn. Andrew? I think his video froze. Does anybody have, we'll go to John Niall from the Detroit News.
Hey, Phil, I just wonder along those lines with Hunter. I mean, how is he handling this season? It obviously comes back. He's the focal point, big goals. How's he handling just sort of the frustration I'm sure everybody's feeling there?
No, Hunt is Hunt. He's not really, and that's across the board. Like we know who they are, and I think that if you see a change, if you see a guy that's boisterous and he's withdrawn, then that's my responsibility, and it's Sadi's responsibility, Howard Isley's responsibility. Juwan takes it on very personal. Like, you get up to that guy and say, okay, come on. If you see something academically, because we're tracking them weekly, if you see something, come on. Like, yes, this is not what anybody planned, but that doesn't mean that's what we're all going to get. We have another half a season left to flip the script, and but Hunter's along those lines. He is. The conversations that you have with him, though, are away from basketball. Like, is NIL, is that time consuming? Is the thoughts about, well, I kind of was public about this might be my last year in college. Well, is that a burden? I think it's really important, and the tone is always set in this program by Juwan about this is personal. Like, these are personal relationships. This is not player coach. This is what do we know? What do we really know about Hunter? And I think you have to be really in tune with drifting away. And in today's world, like, how much flack, how much negativity are they taking from social media? Are they active social? Are they getting involved in something that that they want to say, well, I can take care of, when we have to be there for them. But specific to Hunter, I think that, is he concerned? Yeah, I think he's concerned health-wise. He wants, that was his last statement to me in the locker room. I looked at him in Illinois. I said, "Are you all right?" And he said, "I just feel bad. I just want to be out there with them." And, look, silver lining in a way, the fact that he spoke up the night before Michigan State probably helped all of us. Because if he goes out there and thinking, well, I'll get through it, like, athletes are oh, get through it. If he goes out there and tries to get through it, maybe he doesn't play well, we don't play well. Maybe this thing lasts 2 more weeks instead of 1 week. So there is some credit to him at least speaking up, and a credit to Michigan, Darryl Conway and the athletic training staff to say, okay, this is how we're going to handle this thing. Now, not that it would have been catastrophe, but it could have been a lot longer than the period that we dealt with it.
I think we got Andrew back.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I have a question about Eli. A lot is being asked of him, or at least a lot is needed from him to win. In past years, he was never really the first option offensively. I guess, is there any way to ease what's on his plate, particularly offensively, and kind of get him going?
The answer is yes. yeah. Like, and I just mean this respectfully. The suggestions of, well, why doesn't he play point guard? And the answer is, well, if he plays point guard and guards the other team's best player and knows where all 5 of our guys are to be on every offensive set, and he knows the defensive game plan better than the coach that prepared the defensive game plan scouting report, and make threes, I would say like February the 3rd, he'll be running on his knees. Like everything will be gone. So yes, we are really, really, really appreciative of his efforts. And when each of us says our prayers each day, we're thankful that Eli chose to come back. And the play responsibility has to be, it's not on him. It's not, and he's not standing on top of a mountain saying, well, you know what, this is it. He's the perfect player. No, he's a player like all of us, all of our players who are flawed. So again, watch him, focus in on him, and make sure that it's not too much, that it doesn't become too much of a moment and too much pressures. Because he's won a lot of games, and he'll win a lot more, but he's going to win them with his teammates, not alone.
Thanks.
Coach, we have one last one for you as we go back to John Nio.
Hey, Phil, I wonder with Musa, what you took away from that game, or what he took away from that game. Kofi's obviously a different animal than most, but I wonder what you've seen from him lately.
Musa is a very, 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 very unique guy. Unbelievably confident, unbelievably aware of his own game and his need for growth in the game. He's a good study who will become a great study in terms of film, from breaking down not just the upcoming opponent, but the but the last game, what does he have to improve on? And it's a small thing, but his ball screen defense was his best of the year against Kofi and Frazier and those guys that make great use of a middle ball screen. I think that Musa is focused on day-to-day improvement and taking that experience. I don't think he went into the game saying, "Oh my God, he's an All-American," or he's such a big guy. I mean, I don't know if he outweighed him by 60 pounds, but Musa was not down about it. I would say he's more driven by analysis. He wants your feedback. And he's constantly asking coaches, what can I do? How was I here? How was I there? So it was certainly an experience for him. And hopefully when Illinois returns here, we will not have to have that experience of Musa guarding Kofi. We'll have our own big guy in there.
Okay, Coach, we appreciate your time. Sorry about being late, but we'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Be safe.
We're going to now move over to Jace. Does anybody have any questions for Jace? Jace, can you please unmute?
Yes, sir.
Anyone? Nick Stoll will start off from the Michigan Daily, Jace.
Yeah, so Jace, earlier in the season, I think it was Michigan Media Day, Caleb mentioned in practice, he said you were one of the hardest people, if not the hardest to go up against. I think on Friday, maybe you showed a little bit of what he was talking about. How do you feel about that comment and about your performance on Friday night?
Well, I appreciate that from Caleb because I probably have similar things to say about him because he's probably one of the hardest to go up against as well. So thank him for that. But yeah, I just had to buy into my role, which was to get the guys ready for the games in practice. And whether that's guarding them 94 feet, picking them up, locking and trailing Caleb to make sure he doesn't get a shot off like teams will do to him, or if that's fronting Musa and Hunter in the post and others guarding Eli 94 feet, it depends. So, and I was given the opportunity to help us win a game on Friday night. I took no other approach to it. I just wanted to do the same thing and hopefully at the time help my team win that game.
We'll follow up with Clayton Safey from the Wolverine.
Yeah, Jace, on that note, when it came to guarding Kofi Coburn and playing the 5 on offense, I guess, how did that come about? Was that something, did you go to the staff or did they kind of come to you and trust that you would be able to get the job done?
It was kind of mutual. They knew that I was willing to do that, and especially with the situation we were in at the time, we didn't even know if Jaren would play. And so it was just me, Musa, at that point. So it wasn't even like I had a choice. Like it was what we needed. And same thing in the past 2 weeks, it's been very similar to that in practices with not knowing who's going to be in each practice and not knowing who's going to be ready for the games and stuff. So they knew that I was ready for the opportunity. I wanted it because, how many times in your career can you guard like a preseason All-American or potential National Player of the Year? So it was something that I was excited for, and just to help us get a win. It's a long season. We're in round 4. We just finished round 4. And we got 16 more to go. So like that's a mentality we have, and we're looking forward to it. Even though like it hasn't been the ideal season that we wanted right now. I know we're excited for the opportunities that we have ahead. But yeah, it was a mutual. But I'd say I was more vocal in trying to get that opportunity for sure.
Next up is Andrew Kahn from MLive.
Hey, Jace. First of all, before the season, the roster, I don't know how official this is, but it listed you as a guard instead of a forward. Like, yeah, can you give some insight on that? Because it sure seems like, if anything, you were a center the other night.
Yeah, man. That's the versatility that our coaches preach in our offense. They were positionless basketball. So yeah, I was a guard. I take pride in guarding guards like Eli and Devontae in practice to get them ready. That's where I think my niche is. But at the end of the day, we're all basketball players, and I feel that to be a player, especially in today's game where there's a lot of positionless basketball, you have to be able to play multiple positions, guard multiple positions. And yeah, I know I'm not as tall as let's say some of the other bigs out there, only being like 6'7", but I feel that my off season and what a main focus was consistently shooting and ball handling. I wanted to make sure that I was for whatever we needed, and you never know. But I also sprinkled in some post moves and making sure I got a little bit stronger with Sandman, and that was very big because when I came in, I was about 206 pounds, and now I'm at like 224. Last time I weighed in, so that's shout out to Sandman there. He's been one of my biggest helps since I've been here. We've before game list, after game list, post practice lists, pre-practice lists, all that good stuff, and all that extra work in was for nights like Friday where you just never know what the team's going to need of you. And 2.5 weeks ago, I wouldn't have even imagined having that opportunity to go out and guard Kofi, but it was something that I've always looked forward to, dating back to high school when Vernon Carey, one of my former high school teammates, went out with an ankle sprain before the state championship, and I had to step in and play the 5 again. And I was fortunate enough to lead my team in points in the state championship game. So I've always looked forward to opportunities because you never know what's going to be thrown your way. So I was just grateful for it.
And then just a second thing, I don't know if you heard my question to Coach Martelli, but the dynamic of playing for your dad on a team where you're fighting for minutes and you got a lot of depth. It's not like obvious who should play, when, and where. Like, yeah, if that's presented any challenges, or if I guess everyone's been cool about it.
No, instead of challenges, I'll probably say opportunities. Last year I had 3 pros in my position from Frank, Sean D, and Isaiah. So the opportunities to go against them in practice, just to get myself better. It wasn't even to help push them. It was honestly to get myself better. And all those guys had 3 different unique games for being pretty more or less the same position. So when I got here, I reached out to Connor McCaffrey. I think I said this before, and asked them how, and Jaden Hardaway, to ask them how it was playing for their fathers, because I never done it before. And it's been so far so good. Obviously he's a little bit tougher on me, but that's obvious. And but it's great because nobody knows my game like he does, and I know that he's always going to have my best interest. And if that day comes where he doesn't, I just got to get my mom on him. So I think she'll take care of that for me. And if I'm miserable, he's miserable. But yeah, so it's been good, especially him being a big and playing in the NBA for 19 years. It's really helped not only me, but Musa, Hunter, Jaren, Terrence, and even Caleb. It's helped us a lot, and learning from them, which I never done before, to an extent as I am in these past 2 years, has been interesting. But yeah, I guess the dynamic hasn't really changed much. He treats me like one of the players because I am one of the players. So I'm just grateful to be here, man.
We'll go to James Hawkins from the Detroit News.
Hey, Jace. Over the last month, you guys have played just 3 times. You guys have had a game canceled. You have 2 games postponed. You've played 2 games shorthanded, and you mentioned some games you go into, you don't even know who's going to play. So I guess just what's it been like trying to navigate all that while you guys are trying to turn your season around?
Well, it hasn't been easy, to be quite honest. It's definitely been challenging, but it hasn't been something we're feeling sorry for ourselves about or shying away from. Everybody on this team wants to play. We're all basketball players, and nobody's going to shy away from an opportunity. Not just speaking for me, but Jaren. I know Kobe stepped up big for us, and I can name many others. I hope I don't want to forget anybody, but there was guys that were prepared to play that might have not played. But I think it showed how much we love this game. It's hard to play in a pandemic, and especially, I think before the season, we couldn't have predicted that this would happen in terms of like games canceling and players being sick with COVID. We thought that was a 2020 thing. And even in the pandemic last year, we didn't even have these problems. So I think I have to give appreciation to our coaches and our trainers who have been very helpful in this scenario. It's hard on all of us, but they've been very supportive and not only preparing us for the games, but just get the information and not withdrawing any information. Like when they find out something, we find out something. And it's made it a lot easier for us as players because now the transparency is it's very I don't know the word, it's there. And our guys, we levitate towards it, especially in times when we're not winning. This is obviously not what we want. We're winners here. And when you're not doing that, it's more challenging, but kudos to them for helping us in these situations for sure.
Right, and you kind of just mentioned it. I mean, heading into the season, I guess you guys didn't expect to be 7-7 at this point. I mean, aside from health, I guess what do you think has maybe been preventing this team from reaching its potential?
I'd probably say the lack of experience that we have as a group. Like I was thinking about it last night. We've only had 3 players that really played last year on this team that returned, and being Brandon, Eli, Hunter, and sort of Terrence in a way. So maybe like 4. And so we're all learning. Basketball is a game of the best teams always have experience, and not making any excuses for us because we are coached just like them. We lace up our shoes just like them, and we go out and play the same game. But I want it. It's hard to pinpoint it because we're still searching for what in what ways we could be better. We're actively doing it every day. From having meetings, just talking about it in film, trying to find solutions in the game, film and stuff like that in practice. But so I don't really have an answer for you in that sense, but I know we're trying and actively getting there because the most odd thing is we're still locked in and we're all really good dudes. And there's no negativity, there's no finger pointing. And I never seen this on a team because I've been on teams that struggled before. And that was there. And it's odd because now this is not there. So you're like, wait, this isn't how it's supposed to be. But it also gives us hope for the amount of games that we have left and what we still can accomplish. Because we're only 4 games in the Big Ten play, and it still shows that this will be a team that could still be very competitive by the time late February, early March hits. And that's why I feel like we haven't given up, and we're going to play our butts off on Tuesday because that's who we are. We have a lot of guys that work out. Like when I come in the mornings, Frankie and Kobe are right there working out right beside me on the other basket or stuff like that. Terrence is there. Moose is there. Moose is there before all of us. So it shows that we have hope, and we've got along better than mostly every other team besides last year's team. We're about the same equally in terms of how our locker room dynamic is. So it's hard to see, but I have hope for what's to come.
Appreciate it.
We'll move over to Michael Cohen from the Free Press.
Hey, Jace, kind of piggybacking off what James just asked you, at the beginning of the season, there were players who talked about wanting this team they thought could be maybe the best defensive team in the country that would compete for the Big Ten, maybe compete for a national championship Final Four. I guess when you have a start to a season that doesn't necessarily align with those types of goals right away? Is it difficult at all from a confidence standpoint, or does the team feel like things need to adjust at all from a goal standpoint because the first half hasn't played out the way that you guys thought it would?
No, because I feel like our goals are still intact. We had 3 goals in the beginning of the season: Big Ten title, Big Ten tournament title, and national champions. And honestly, as bad as it went, or I won't even say it's bad, it's as unpredictable as the first 14 games in have been. All those goals are still there. They're still accomplishable, and it makes it seem that now we're just going to use the past experiences to our benefit. Last year's team, we pretty much had the best season, I think, in regular season that we probably could have had. And a team that beat us at the end didn't have that. But they got hot at the right time, and they played their best basketball at the right time, and their season's more memorable than ours. So it just, I've been telling our players, that just proves to show that we still have opportunities, and all 3 of our goals are still ahead of us. So it's honestly, we're just, our only option right now is to use what we learned in those first 14 games for the rest of the season, because everything's still ahead of us. It's just going to make us better, and we're going to be more battle tested. So that's, yeah.
Thanks, Jace.
No problem.
We got one final one for you. We'll go back to Nick from the Daily.
Hey, Jace, earlier you mentioned adding on some weight and muscle and, Sanderson's role in that. And earlier this season, a couple of your teammates like Terrence and Brandon talked about their path to get into better shape this offseason and their diet. Did you make any dietary changes, and what was kind of the role of your nutritionist in your transformation?
Mine was pretty easy. I was able to just eat more. So I love that. Obviously healthier foods, but I was lucky in that sense to just add an extra meal in my day. So it was great. Kayla, who's no longer with us, and Sandman were great with the support that they gave me, the guide, like the blueprint that they gave me to what I wanted, which was to get a little bit heavier. Well, not, you know what I mean, put on some more muscle. And it was great because now I feel better. I feel as good as I've ever felt. And Sandman's basketball background is great because he knows how to put on weight, and he knows like how to keep your body still able to play. Because if you lift a lot, you're gonna be sore. So he does it in the right ways, and I'm super grateful for him. And he was one of my biggest supporters on Friday night, because obviously that was a weight room type of game, and that was to show all the work that we've done in the summer and the year before that. So yeah, shout out to them. I gotta keep on giving credit to them, because that's where it came from.
All right, Jace, we appreciate your time. Thanks for your patience waiting, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
See you guys tomorrow night. Thank you, guys.